You notice that a lot of files have gone up in the past couple of days, and I'm sure he will explain on how this goes together. It centers around bankruptcy, Chapter 15, and the issuing of liens. And I see I haven't read all of these. Okay. I'll read them in the order that I put out there. And that yesterday, 10th, and today, the 11th. So I'm looking at the files on my computer, which are the same as the Yahoo group. I realize that I haven't looked at the Miller Act payment bond claim and the make a payment bond claim. I need to go at those. That there's a fictitious name resolution document that we're going to need to register because they stole our name. There's identity theft here. And then there's a PDF about lien and bond claims in the 50 United States. And then there's a PDF about the state survey of different mechanics liens. And that's probably the nature of the kind of liens that we're going to put on there. Are mechanics liens, which have a high priority. There's he put a web page about construction contracts, and that's basically the situation where when you put mechanics liens on. Then there's the bankruptcy court form 401, which we would have to fill out when we enter a bankruptcy. And as you can see, this is for Chapter 15, and we are, I forget the exact terms, let me pull the form up. This is, the terminology is a little off-putting because it really doesn't talk about the creditor, but it does talk about the foreign debtor. And I believe in our case, the foreign debtor will be our driver's licenses, a certificate of live birth, DD-214s, all the certificates we have out there, and they're in the foreign country, the District of Columbia, the 1871 United States. We are called a foreign representative, and we're the representative of the creditors. And the statement Patrick made is that there has to be more than one creditor in an action like this. But I would presume that those creditors would include our estate, our foreign grantor trust, our individual banker, and perhaps our private bank also. But we are representative of those creditors. And then I found in the document that referred to this, let me get this down, there's a bankruptcy form 401 committee notes, which goes through and it explains the form in more conversational terms. And then I found out on the web a document called Demystifying Chapter 15 Bankruptcies. And it really goes through the procedures, the different stages of what a bankruptcy is. And I can see sort of where we're going on that. And later today, he put up some documents about UCC liens that could be recorded and not properly UCC recorded. And I'm not sure whether this is going to be the way they can hide.
Okay, that's Pat. I'm on the line. Tom, you can stop guessing. Okay?
Okay. Just guessing, right.
Yeah. Okay. We need to do a non-UCC non-UCC filing, okay? We never marked non-UCC filing on any of the UCCs that we did. And everybody followed the leader out here. And basically, the templates that I put up there, I never marked the non-UCC filing, so nobody else did either, okay? Most of you guys are just followers out here waiting for somebody else to do it all for you, okay? One person basically was out there trying a bunch of stuff, and basically she's out of the system now. She'll be getting out next week, okay? They're settling up her account. It's over $5 billion. Most of it's going into the Treasury. She'll be getting a debit card for $200 million. You needed to do a non-UCC filing, okay? And basically you've got a organization, okay, more than one person, okay, as your debtor. So it's an organization with your name. And then also you are an international organization with your name. So you're not coming in as an individual, from the way I understand it. And then you take this, you're coming in as the creditor going into a bankruptcy action against the debtor. You have to file this, get the UCC approved, and then you file it into the birthing county or into the county where you're recording your documents at right now. Then you get certified copies of it, then you can put those into the bankruptcy court. And then stand by. And that's about all I got to say. Okay? The stuff that I put up there about that we're coming in, and basically they've got performance and payment bonds out here. I had Tom post those documents up there. You need to understand that. Okay? This is one of the oldest things in the Bible. Okay? Nobody ever asked the question, why in the hell was Eve eating just an apple? Why didn't she eat an orange? Why didn't she eat a banana? How come it was an apple? Well, there's an old saying, basically, the apple of my eye. For a woman, the apple of her eye is her children, which would have been Cain. And basically, Adam and Eve and the bankers were eating up all of Cain's child labor because he was laboring in the garden, raising the fruits and stuff. That's what was going on. Everything out here is about child labor. You create a fictional person. You signed the Social Security contract when you were underage. So that was a child labor contract. The birth certificate, your mother informed upon you, so that was a child labor contract. You still haven't grown up. So it's still an ongoing child labor contract. Then even your driver's license. Basically, you signed up. Well, basically, how old is that person, that debtor person? He was just born the day you gave your signature to him. So he's under a child labor contract also. You may be 56 years old or something like that, but he's only less than 1 day. And basically, you've got to get paid for your labor, okay? Your child's labor. You have to come in and claim. I don't know how many of you ever grew up on a farm or anything like that, or worked around the house, cleaned the windows on the house, put labor into the house, painted the house. worked on the farm. Well, how come the state can turn around and come in and basically want inheritance tax from that farm? Because nobody is putting a lien against that farm or against that house for the labor that they put into it. Labor is not taxed. Therefore, all inheritance should not be taxed, period. Because you put childhood labor into it. The parents were obligated to support the child when they're growing up. But that is not payment for their labor. Okay, I gave Tom some other documents there to post up today about this non-UCC filing. Read the damn things, and I'm done talking. Okay?
Yeah, I'm wondering. One here believes that the non-UCC filing is a non-commercial. It's a private.
It's private. Yes.
Yeah.
It does not get recorded.
Correct.
Read the documents. It will tell you that. It's a hidden filing. Now, whether anybody else has ever filed one out there, you don't know, because it's hidden.
Right. Can you non-pro-tunc from the beginning one of those type of liens or filings? You follow what I'm saying? Can you make it back from the date of the beginning of the certificate of live birth, say?
No.
When that
basically, you just put that in. You let them settle the matter. They will come and adjust it when they close down. You're going to have to surrender everything: your Social Security account, your driver's license, your certificate of live birth, your DD-214, everything. You will now be hidden. You'll no longer exist in the system. You will be working with the Treasury Department, not the Department of the Treasury any longer. Turn in all your UCC or your EIN numbers, everything. We don't need them any longer. Anybody have any problem with that?
Well, there was a big thing about the banking and everything and understanding the banking laws and whatnot. So the EIN guys are the individual banker, the foreign grantor trust, and the estate, yes?
Yes, it was all working to get to this point, to find out about our child labor. Okay? And to find out how to get the hell out of the damn system. We'll still exist. We'll have a debit card for a couple $100 million probably on it. What more do you need?
Not much.
Right. You don't have to fly commercial flights and go through the checkout line and everything else. You can go rent a damn plane yourself and fly somewhere.
Correct. I think the same thing applies if you could fly first class if you had been the airlines that's flying you. Or if if they crash, you hold
whatever you want to do, okay?
Yeah, right.
Money talks, okay? And bullshit walks. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The person will be out of the system next week. I'm not going to tell you who it is or anything like that. As soon as I find out if there's any additional details that I need to, I'll put those out. But now you need to go and do a UCC 1 and get it in as a non-UCC filing. And read these documents. Okay? Understand what a payment is. And you've got to put payment in your UCC down that you're coming in to claim those payment and performance bonds that are out there that you've never been paid. Your child's never been paid. And then you take your debtor child into an involuntary bankruptcy. Chapter 7. Putting that UCC, non-UCC filing in as your claim. Because you're the creditor. Here's my creditor's claim. Okay.
What kind of amount?
You guys go ahead and talk. I'm off the line.
Thank you, Patrick.
What do you think about that?
Well, we need a whole lot more information than that. Like, what exactly? I'm vaguely familiar with UCC forms because we've done one or two, but I'm not experienced at them. And what's done to change our child? For what?
What's what? What was it?
We're supposed to make out a UCC form for payment, so we're evidently paying the child for the labor. So exactly how do we describe the labor that was
non-commercial? That's that non-commercial lien that he's talking about.
Right, but for what amount do we make the lien? Do we go find out the value of
file a non-commercial lien?
Of what value?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let's see if you can hear me.
Are we still on?
Yeah, we're on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Thomas.
Okay. Yes. What amount do we put down for the non-commercial lien? And,
the only thing that you would put down is full value.
So
just write in full value.
Oh, that's true. Full value, rather than because the other thought is there's various ways of looking up the worth of your certificate of live birth, but who knows how accurate that is and whether it's everything.
Right. We don't know what everything amounts to.
Right.
What the total amount is for everything.
So, you're right. Full value would cover that. Duh. I mean, I've asked that stupid question a number of times. Well, I should have known better. So, I've got to get familiar with this. I've heard a lot about all this UCC stuff. Basically, Patrick has been saying more or less stay away from it. So it's the ones that I did do was about a year ago with him. So I guess I need to go back and review those and decide how we're going to modify. And he'd given us a lot of things about bankruptcy 15, but now it looks like we're going into 7. And that makes sense. The 7 is basically getting rid of everything. You're just taking the debtor and wiping them out.
Well, that's pretty exciting news that this lady is being 100% successful about getting out of the system.
Okay.
I like that.
And it's most likely that what Patrick is doing is not saying any more until he knows exactly what it is, so that we don't go chasing around on details that we don't need. He's given us a lot of homework. I just read to you the 12 documents that he's posted yesterday and today. We should read those pretty thoroughly. Though I guess for right now we can drop looking at the chapter 15 bankruptcy documents, which I just went through. Not as thoroughly as I could, but I did go through them. But we don't, since we're doing 7, we don't have to worry about any of that recognition stuff that we're up to. It's very clear who the creditor is and who the debtor is. Whereas with the bankruptcy 15, that involved a lot of ifs. This 7 is much more direct. So I guess that's another thing we can do is a read up on 7 and exactly what's going on there. Go back and look at the old UCC forms and see if we can figure out, based on what we've learned recently, how to modify them and how we submit them. And I think that's something we could discuss intensively on the site and with all the other stuff out that gets the dog know? Has the dog figured it out?
No, I did not. I didn't see anything up there.
Rob, you got a dog.
Are we off now?
No, we can hear your dog.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that. I walk inside the house. There's 2 UCC1 filings. One's a non-filing and the other one's a commercial filing. Okay?
Right.
You want the non-filing.
That's right. Now he wants a non-recorded filing.
Yeah, exactly.
So that just means we make it out and stick it in our file drawer.
Well, it's gonna be it's your record.
Well, okay, it's our record, but there's a difference between unrecorded and non-UCC recorded.
Correct.
So we record it at the county level, but we don't turn it into.
That would be that county level, so you wouldn't need to send that to the Secretary of State. You would record that on the county level?
Right, and don't send it into the UCC people. Because they get all out of shape when the creditor and the debtor have the same name anyhow.
Okay.
Or seemingly have the same name because there's been identity theft involved.
Well, exactly.
Right.
So it's kind of like, is everything reduced to now that UCC non-filing thing has been reduced to that? And you take that in and give it.
Well, that's what it looks like. We used to see filing to get our full value in the bankruptcy 7.
Okay. Well, here I was having fun being a private international banker.
Well, he's saying that we just turn all that in.
That's what I heard him say.
Yeah.
This is the second time that something like that has he said that.
But, I mean, he's the one out here pounding on it. He's the one all the time.
And I think that the UCC1 non-filing has credence. I've never done one. I've done a regular UCC, but I've never done a non-filing.
Oh, well, the UCC ones we did before, we followed them with the UCC department. And I basically chose Washington State because at that time they were kind of considered international and gave less grief as to what the thing looked like. But then after a year they sent it back because evidently they got like everybody else and said, well, you can't be named as both the debtor and the creditor, even though the name is in a different format.
This might be where we have to kind of help each other out if that's the case.
Right.
You know.
I think even though what he's trying to do is get us to figure out as much as we can, and that we really should. We should understand as much as we can. With all the documents he's put out, I've been reading them, going over pretty thoroughly, and he's right. I was just guessing when I was going through this, partly because the Chapter 15 stuff was still mixed in with it.
Right.
So the Chapter 15 stuff I read out to you was ones that I actually put out there based on what he had said a few days ago. I went and found the B401 form that he mentioned the last call, and then I found the applicable notes for it, and I pulled that out, and then I read the stuff on the Chapter 15, and that was kind of dense and technical, so I went out and found some other demystifying thing, and that made more sense to me. Once I read that, I could go back and read the other stuff, and it made more sense. But yes, even though we do that, and we're getting into subjects that we end up not using, we needed to exercise our mind to try to find exactly where the right keyhole was.
Sure. I got a question for you. Are the admiralty liens still in play? Are they still in play? Are they being shelved?
My guess here is that almost everything is being shelved.
Okay. And just for the UCC non-filing?
Right. For all the grief that people have given themselves on trying to do the EINs, because the EIN was basically a simple process, and it's amazing how people bent themselves out of shape trying not to understand what it was. All that's gone. We don't need to worry about that anymore. So,
at least you got to part with everything. Well, that I agree with him, because he keeps talking about we're going to separate the baby, since you can't quite figure out who the real mother is. We're just going to cut him in half, and each one you get half, right? And then the real mother released.
Yeah.
So the same principle is that for those of us that have these authenticated birth certificates and whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that we did, we're going to have to give it back.
I do really wish we could sort out something though with the Treasury so we can travel though. There has to. I suspect there is some way to do that, but I agree that first let's get our $7 billion and then we can worry about that.
Yeah. Well, I think Patrick uses the Matrix. I've been watching the Toy Story, and the Toy Story, there's one of them that says you got to get past the monkey. In other words, you got to get the monkey off your back. You have to get that other status, because you carry the dual status of an American national and a U.S. citizen at the same time. You need to get rid of the U.S. citizen aspect of it.
Well, the monkey is the District of Columbia.
That's how the monkey's attached to your back. Exactly. I know the monkey is District of Columbia. It's the district. And you know that they have their own district codes too?
Yep.
So what's the dinosaur for the district?
I don't know.
There's only one. They only found one dinosaur. It's supposedly big. What would they call that dinosaur again from the district? Do you remember? The dinosaur from the District of Columbia. Okay, never mind. It's something.
Well, I just saw today that the flat earthers have come out and said there was never any dinosaurs.
Well, this is just kind of like a play. I can't remember exactly what the name of it was, but it's some ridiculous name.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
and if you hear the name, it's going to make sense to you when you hear the name. I have to call one of my buddies that I talk to all the time.
So yes, I think that Patrick really wants us to work on this and think it through as much as we can, and we should do that. He's done so damn much hard work. We should do something. He's been so generous with his time. I feel confident once he sees exactly how it's going to be done, he'll let us know. He will still work on trying to make us think independently, and that's fine.
The name of the dinosaur is Capitalsaurus.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, you're right, Tom. That's absolutely correct. So I'm going to just review what just put out here and go from there.
Let's keep up with it on the Skype group and do some things. And if we want to do some calls, quick calls during the day when we have something, let's do that because the conference room is always open for that.
Right. So the package to the getting the package here to the authorization package to the county clerk, that's probably no longer viable.
That's very likely.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is the master key, then we don't need those other things. Basically, if we do this and just drop the UCC off at the county, that may be enough. Because we don't need the 50 steps because we're not going to be keeping the EIN. So why are we producing any? In fact, the authorization package had all our EINs on it, and if we're turning them in, there goes the authorization package.
Footman Claude, add a book.
Yeah. What's your book? Okay. Any more guys you want to talk about this? Or we just have to go do our homework?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So let's be ready. I'm pretty much busy at this time almost every day. So, but if we can during the day, if we want to get off and discuss on the conference call for half an hour, let's do that. And it doesn't have to be the whole gang of us. It's just 2 or 3 of us have something we can chew over. Let's do that. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. Thank you then.
Thank you, Thomas.
Okay, you're welcome.